We near the debut of the most anticipated tournament held by the Omni Kings in the upcoming Universe Survival arc, but before we dive into the madness of eliminations and surprises, in this episode of Dragon Ball Super, we go back to a familiar time when Goku and Krillin once trained, as Goku looks for a training partner while everyone seems to be busy, but instead resorts to training with Krillin, very similar to when back in the day they were training with Master Roshi. What's going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome to my Dragon Ball Super episode 75 review, entitled Goku and Krillin to the nostalgic training place, leading into Dragon Ball Super episode 75 next week, as we get ever so closer to the debut of the Universe Survival arc, debuting on February 5th, 2017. And a quick plug before we begin, in case you guys are not following me at Twitter, make sure to go on ahead and follow me at Twitter at UnrealEntGaming. The link will be down in the description below for all the latest in Dragon Ball news, information, and updates. And of course, if you guys want to keep notified of what's going on, make sure to follow me at Twitter. And of course, if you guys are new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out, and don't forget to turn on notifications. That way you guys yourselves are notified of whenever a Dragon Ball discussion, review, or gameplay video is posted on this channel. Your feedback and of course your support really means a lot to me, so be sure to go on ahead and spread the word about the channel, guys. It really means a lot to me. So before even watching the episode, I kind of had very low expectations as to what I was going to see in this particular episode. I thought originally it was going to be boring. I didn't really think much of it because after looking at the dialogue and after looking at what the narrator was talking about, how Goku was looking for a training partner, and for Goku to go back and recruit Krillin and to train with Krillin, I didn't really see that as an effective training partner, and no disrespect to Krillin, for Goku, considering the fact that he's been training for such a long time with various different people, including Whis himself. So I thought to myself, how is Krillin going to be effective to Goku's training? Well, in this episode, I firmly believe that we got to see certain things that kind of went back and resembled Dragon Ball, but I guess you could say ultimately helped Goku improve just a little bit as well. Kind of felt bad for Gohan by the end of this, but the episode kicks off right where we left off, with Goku at the field similar to where he was at in the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, and he appears to be training by himself with Chi-Chi, Gohan, and Goten watching him, and we get to see how later on Chi-Chi called Gohan over to help Goku train, and we see Beerus and Whis, they're off to do like some sort of god work according to Herms98 on Twitter, and Gohan tries to get Goten to do it, but Chi-Chi objects because she doesn't want Goten to train with Goku, and we see how all of a sudden we see her have like this aura around her, like this Kaioken aura. It was so stupid to see, but yet it was so funny because we get to see how she's bossing her sons around, and then out of nowhere she has like this red aura that comes about her. It's insane. But then later on we see how Gohan volunteers and he still has the Great Saiyaman outfit on, and it's pretty funny because, you know, Goten is no longer impressed by the Great Saiyaman costume, and Chi-Chi's telling Goten that, oh my god, my boy's finally growing up. And we get to see flashbacks of Gohan when he was marrying Videl, and he's doing the whole Great Saiyaman pose, but Goku doesn't seem like he's impressed in the least. He's just standing there while Gohan is making his speech, and we see how Goten suggests Goku to train with Krillin later on after he battles Gohan. Now, speaking of Gohan, Gohan admits that he's really not up to training anymore, and we see how Goku rushes him, and surprisingly enough, we see how Great Saiyaman catches Goku's punch, and I will say, it was a little cool to see this because we haven't seen, you know, Gohan and Goku train, I believe, since the hyperbolic time chamber back in Dragon Ball Z, and like the entire area is just, you know, just bursting out. We see rocks flying over the place. We see how Chi-Chi's grabbing onto Goten's leg, trying to hang on while Goten seems to be impressed. And speaking of being impressed, after this, we see Goku become a Super Saiyan, Gohan became a Super Saiyan, and they began to fight. Now, this was really, really good because for a split second, we see how Gohan, he managed to punch Goku somewhere near the stomach area, and Goku seemed to be out of breath. We see how Goku fell back before he unleashed a couple of ki blasts. It was really intense, but of course, Chi-Chi had to break it up. Now, this is what really pissed me off, is because Chi-Chi said, you know, you guys better knock it off, you're destroying the entire area, and they were. But for that small moment, for the time being, for Gohan to train with Goku as a Super Saiyan out of all things, it was really awesome to see that, and Chi-Chi had to break that up. But of course, they suggest for Goku to train with Krillin, and we see how Krillin is like in the middle of like this shootout with these criminals, and Goku just shows up in the middle of the road, very casual, and, you know, Krillin tells Goku that those guys are robbers, and Goku says that he'll take care of them. He grabs their guns, he completely bends the barrels, and he's looking at these guys like they're stupid, and these criminals are shook because they're like, how the hell, like, who is this guy? So it was kind of funny to see that, how he just popped out of nowhere, and Krillin doesn't think that, you know, he can keep up with Goku after Goku told him that he wanted to train with him, and besides, I mean, he's retired, he's not really a martial artist, but Goku keeps suggesting, hey, day, come train with me. And we see how Goku's spending time with Krillin's child, they're chilling, and we get to see how later on Goku tries to convince Krillin, and Krillin remembers that him and Goku, were training together back in the day, and even according to Herms, Krillin said, if we're gonna train together, let's go to Roshi's. So very reminiscent back to the original Dragon Ball when we first saw Goku and Krillin training. 18 was there. 18 asked Krillin about his arm, but we see there's something wrong with Krillin, and then we get a shot of like a teacup, and the first thing that came to mind once I saw like this cup of tea was Zamasu, and within the actual teacup we see how the heart that was there, it's no longer there. We see it beginning like to separate, and we see how the heart's beginning to break, and I don't know, there's like a symbolic message there for 18 and Krillin. But the first thing that came to mind when I saw a cup of tea, and I think this will always stick with me, was Zamasu and Gowasu back when he was serving him tea. However, we see how Krillin, he talks to 18, he wants to get back into shape, and Goku thinks that Krillin's martial art uniform, suits him best, and Krillin says that he's not returning to martial arts though, and Krillin gives some sort of like a hint at Goku, like he really doesn't want to do this. But then they step outside and they begin to knuckle up, and we see how prior to that 18 pretty much chews out Krillin for being weak. And then we had Marin ask 18, hey, is daddy weak? And she wants daddy to be strong. I mean, anybody's kid would want their parent to be strong, but I really thought that this episode was going to be complete dog shit like the last episode from last week and the week prior to that. But I'm gonna have to say, after looking at the beginning of this episode, even dragging it on towards the middle and the end, it was a really good episode, because especially with the whole Gohan and Goku sequence, even having Krillin have a change of heart because he will be participating in the Universal Tournament, so maybe there are signs there that Krillin wants to break that weakness. Even though he's not a martial artist, we see how his own wife is just chewing him out, suggesting that he better get on his game, because if not, he's always going to be a failure to his daughter. And even his daughter's asking, is daddy weak? And he doesn't want that for his daughter. So they go off and they get to Master Roshi. So we see Roshi's there, he's chilling, he's eating, and Krillin gives Roshi his traditional, pre-training present, which was obviously a dirty magazine, and we see how Roshi's bleeding from his nose, and we get to see how Roshi hits Goku for not giving a proper greeting to him. He smacks him with a stick, and Roshi says to Goku, you've got God power now, like what do you need me for? And that's when Goku replies by saying, what, first Krillin and now you, everyone is telling him you have God power, like what are you doing here? And Goku says later on, after he dresses up, he says, why am I dressed like this? Like it's really heavy. And Goku has Krillin fight like that as well, and going Super Saiyan and flying around and stuff. It's pretty interesting, but again, both of them point out the fact that you have God energy, like what are you doing here? Which kind of, irritates me a little bit, because I want to see Goku train with Whis, because such a person like Goku deserves and needs to train with someone like Whis in order to better prepare for this tournament. However, Goku being Goku, he's dressed up as a massive turtle, and it's pretty funny because Master Roshi had him put that on. But then we see Krillin knuckle up and he's attacking Goku, and it's funny because Goku in the beginning, he's running away, he's avoiding all of Krillin's attacks, but keep in mind he's a giant turtle, and we see how Roshi's observing all this, and Goku in the beginning of his fight with Krillin, he barely lands a single shot, he's just dodging, and Goku's kind of taunting him, and I could not take Goku serious in that turtle outfit because he's dancing around, he's obviously making light of Krillin, and he punches Krillin just once, and this dude goes from the ocean back onto the land, and Roshi taps his stick once, and that is it. Krillin falls down, and Krillin, I felt really bad for Krillin because he was so out of shape. Just one punch caused Krillin to go from the actual water to the land, and he's there, he's tired. Goku offers up his handshake, and he wants them to go on ahead and take some medicine, the paradise grass, which is a forest nearby on a nearby island, because we see how Goku and everyone spends the night there. And Roshi suggests that the training for today has been earned, but now they're going to be entering the paradise forest, which again we're going to go into next week. People are thinking that we're actually going to get to see like a new form of Cell in Majin Buu. That ain't happening, but this is more or less an illusion like forest that can better your training skills and whatnot. So we see how while Goku's sleeping, Krillin's outside and he's reminiscing, and you have to put yourself in Krillin's shoes, because if you've been missing out on your training for that long and you're pursuing something else like being a cop, you're obviously going to have, setbacks in your training. And we see how Master Roshi shows up and he's talking to Krillin, but Krillin is conflicted because, he wants to be strong for Marin in 18, but he doesn't feel like he has it within him. I mean, obviously he's lost motivation, and Roshi and alongside Goku are trying to put that back in him. So I love the idea of Roshi and Goku trying to put that spirit back in within Krillin. I think the funniest part was how Roshi is like gloating about his magazine, and you know, he's just talking about like his, you know, Playboy book or whatever, but he also gives them advice to go into the Paradise Forest and go out there so they can train. So we get to see how later on Goku and Krillin go within the forest, and I think that they should have gone to the forest from the start, but however, they probably weren't aware. Even if that, they probably forgot, which was why, you know, Master Roshi was needed to remind them of that. So they get to this forest and they're lost and they're looking around. It's a beautiful forest, but then later on we get to see, you know, Cell appears, and then when Cell appears, for me at least, that brought back a lot of nostalgia, because this is the first time that we've seen Cell in Dragon Ball Super. And no, this isn't Resurrection Cell, this isn't any of that, you know, this is a mere illusion placed within the forest. So I love the idea that we get to see our previous foes from the past, and we see how Baba's there. But you know what's funny about this is the fact that Goku kind of forgets Baba's name. He gets her name wrong, and Baba is there, and it's funny how she falls off the bar, and she's yelling at Goku, like, for obvious reasons. He's forgetting who she is. But then just as the episode is getting better and better, it ends, but we get to see that fear factor within Krillin, because Krillin is fearful that he's not as strong, and even while they're running in the forest, I mean, Goku's picking that up, and the whole moral of this story, I believe, is getting Krillin to break out of that fear, which is going to transition into next week's episode. Now, they get to like this giant, you know, entrance to like this cave or whatever. It's like the mouth of like this demon, and we get to see how like they're staring right at it, and I think it was good visuals at first, because they're both looking at each other before they go inside, and when they go inside, you know, they see all these trees and all these things happening, and that's when we see the foes from the past. We get to see Cell and various others, but of course, the first being Cell. We also get to see Frieza. Nappa was there as well, and I was very surprised when I saw Nappa, and they're all massive ass warriors, and from what it looks like from a specific shot, we get to see someone that looked just like, you know, Super Buu. Frieza's there, all the original warriors from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, evil Vegeta's there, which is weird. I don't know if anyone picked that up, but we see Birder, Raccoon, Jace, they were all there, and just as the episode ends, you know, it ends off with all of these enemies encircling them, and that's when everything comes to a close. And Goku didn't really look that scared, but Krillin was terrified. So I think the moral of this story was getting Krillin to break out of this, because he was petrified. The guy was petrified because he didn't know what to do. I mean, Krillin hasn't been fighting for long at all, so having to see that, I believe, you know, gave Krillin somewhat of a hope or chance for him to team up with Goku to fight these villains. I thought it was very nostalgic to see all of them. I can't wait until next week when we actually get to see these characters fight. But post your comments down below, guys. I enjoyed this episode more than last week's, with the whole Barry Karn, with the whole Wadagash situation. I think that was really stupid, with the whole Gohan being put into his own movie. I think this holds more weight going into the next arc than how we had Gohan be in his own movie. But post your comments down below, guys, about what you guys thought about this episode. I pretty much went crazy when I saw Cell, and just seeing him there with everyone else is just nostalgic, because that was the first time we've seen Cell in a very long ass time. Frieza we've seen before, but not Cell at all. So, but post your comments down below. What are your overall thoughts on Dragon Ball Super episode 75? Did you guys enjoy this episode? Did you guys dislike this episode? Did you guys think this episode was boring? And what are your overall thoughts on Goku training with Krillin instead of Goku training with Whis, or receiving proper training from somebody stronger? No disrespect towards Krillin, but I think that Goku could have trained with somebody much more stronger, much more powerful, in order to better Goku's abilities, because the only person I think would benefit from this is Krillin. But what are your overall thoughts on there being a nostalgia feel going back to the original Dragon Ball and having Goku and Krillin have an episode all to themselves? Post your comments down below, guys. Once again, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, make sure to go on ahead and subscribe to this channel, guys, for more news, information, updates, reviews, and gameplay videos. If you guys enjoyed Dragon Ball Super, make sure to slap a like on this video. Be sure to go on ahead and post your comments down below. Tune in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys, and God bless. Peace.